Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching YouTube channel and the Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel. We've got almost 2,000 audios here, 1,000 audios on the coaching channel. So, lots of content if you're so inclined. In any event, this is the Mid Atlantic Championship Wrestling Review Series. We got two more of these. Should have more by the end of the week. We're going to have a total of about 200 of these by the time we're done. But this is the June 26th, 1982 edition. Also, we are looking for suggestions for the next series, thinking either ECW or maybe the old Crockett Saturday night shows. That could be a thing. Trying to avoid the new school stuff, Raw, SmackDown, and all that as long as possible. Although that will eventually be here too. Anyway, this is Mid Atlantic Championship Wrestling for the 26th of June. And I guess you'd say new talent back or returning. An alliance between Rick Steamboat, who apparently, according to Jack Briscoe, has been in Japan. Briscoe talks about Piper laying him out, also talks about the damage done to his brother, which is reviewed for the viewers at home. Steamboat promises to stand by as his feud with Piper and others will continue here. Definitely worth taking a look at. Rick Steamboat basically says that Piper has no morals, for lack of a better term, and then there is a handshake between the two. Decent promo. Ricky Steamboat's always kind of been awkward with promos. He is good when well produced, but left to his own devices, he struggles a bit. In any event, we move to the continuation of a Steamboat Briscoe versus Matt Bourne and um, uh, other enhancement talent match. Obviously, the return of Rick Steamboat, big to Mid Atlantic. Steamboat, of course, starting in the area or around the area in 1976. I mean, Bourne is a new guy. Steve Siebert is the opponent for everybody at hand. Not sure how long Matt Bourne's around here. Just getting into this particular portion of Mid Atlantic. Have not seen these before, so worth taking a look at. Briscoe, who has been Mid Atlantic champion several times and the world champion many times as well, at least one time as well. Fireman's Carry Takeover, basic stuff, and stays on the arm of Bourne. Bourne goes in with decent transitions, also tries to get a cutoff on the ring on his adversary in Briscoe, and Siebert comes in and obviously gets taken down. Steamboat with kicks to the back of the leg, basic stuff. Doesn't get everything he wants, but gets enough, and that's the important part of this. Steamboat is more than enough to get everything done that he needs to get done, and it shows here. Steamboat also cranks up on the leg of his adversary and manages to do everything he possibly can in the simplest form that he can. Tries to get leg locks along the way. Briscoe comes back in, and the match actually runs a bit longer than would be expected. They run about 8 or 9 minutes here. Crank in on Steamboat. And Bourne actually looks pretty, uh, not controversial, but competent at the time. Steamboat also comes in back via the top rope and manages to get a top rope chop with Briscoe holding his man in position, and then a combination back suplex and a good victory there. We move to the next in series of matches here, which happens to be a returning larger match, which is Jake Roberts and Roddy Piper. Roberts, of course, a mainstay in the Mid-Atlantic area since we started the series late in 81. Piper, of course, your Mid-Atlantic champion and continues to, back and forth Mid-Atlantic champion. But the brawl between these two, which usually has been reserved for house shows, Piper goes and cranks on Roberts' arm. Roberts as a babyface just always strikes me here because he's rather subdued. He's not the Jake the Snake character that they came to know at the national level. He's more subdued in his promos, but continues to be a really good guy. Ricky Steamboat joins in on commentary and obviously is just awkward as a talker. There is brawling and other basic things. Steamboat and Piper, which I did not know was something I wanted to see until I actually saw it, became, a bit of a brawl. Jake Roberts gets back suplexed out of things. Piper tries to get a victory to the best of his ability. Piper not below cheating, as we all know, and manages to use an illegal object and attempt to roll up Jake Roberts, continuing to get things going in his general direction. High knee lift by Piper, and Piper managing to do everything he possibly can. Also, we see um, some, bigger basic things and hard shots there. And punch kick. Roberts comes out ahead, and ultimately, some, you know, backdrops and knee lifts and all of that. And basic thing there. Shoulder tackles along the way, and getting everything we want to out of that process. Trip from the outside by Sergeant Slaughter. Steamboat runs in and makes a save for Jake Roberts. So Roberts and Slaughter still a thing. The Carnoodle and Nelson are once again your tag team champions. There's debate about that, as Bob Caudle does a masterful job of kind of showing that he isn't that impressed with the multi-time Mid-Atlantic Tag Team Champions. Not necessarily sure why we need Mid-Atlantic Champions. Bill White and Jimmy Valiant are here. Valiant is probably the most animated guy, kind of junking and driving and dancing around, but not really doing anything. Reverse chin locks, basic maneuvers, but nothing to really write home about. Piper endorses Slaughter. Slaughter endorses Piper. The Ninja is out there as an ally of both of them. Piper basically says he wants to continue to be champion in the area, and we go to a six-man tag team match, which is more than anything here to fill time. Six-man tag team match in this particular run is Slaughter, Noodle, and Nelson versus Rotundo, Kiniski, and Davis. Obviously, it's there to put over Slaughter having back control under his guys. Kiniski starts the majority of the match, stays on the man for a while, and the privates of Sergeant Slaughter are in control. Modified attempt to tag to Davis. Doesn't get things going as quickly as Slaughter wants. Davis cuts off Kernoodle and stays on the arm for a while. Slaughter finally comes in, cuts off the baby faces, tries to lock in the killer clutch or Cobra clutch. Not the killer clutch, although it might as well be the killer clutch at this point. Anyway, manages to the heels try to hook things up. They don't get everything they want out of it, but they get enough, and ultimately we lead to kind of that foray, kind of going forward a little bit. Not exactly the way that everybody wants it to go, but it's here, and again, you kind of get the brawling. Eventually, Slaughter and his men get the victory. We move to the, I guess you'd say, last in series of matches for the night, which is Ali Bay and Ken Timms versus Youngblood and Wahoo. Not a bad match by any stretch of the imagination. Also, not exactly, a heavy match either. By heavy, I just mean a match that you need to pay a great deal of attention to in order to get where you want to be. But it's here, and Slaughter and Kernoodle and everything else. But Wahoo in a tag team match is good for the time. Also, talk of Kiniski and Davis trying to team a little more. Talk of trying to build teams. Kiniski is way out of sorts as far as knowing what to say in promos. Mike Rotundo also beside him. Kiniski and Rotundo talk about teaming a little more, and that goes kind of sideways. Anyway, Youngblood and Wahoo, two Native Americans kind of bouncing off each other. Basic stuff. Youngblood back and getting some chops in, both literally and figuratively. Kind of controlling, and Ali Bay and Ken Timms are their opponents. Majority of the match is actually held by Youngblood. Youngblood not exactly going to be your champion for a little while longer, but cut off by the heels for a couple of minutes. Youngblood staying in for the majority of the match, and Wahoo being older, and the more grizzled veteran comes in more as a close for the match. You see kind of a snap suplex among other higher risk maneuvers by Youngblood, and he manages to maintain control in the majority of the match. Youngblood always comes back. Paul Jones pledges his support to anyone who will listen. Jones and Jack Briscoe are happy with each other. Briscoe still holding that Mid-Atlantic Championship. And again, you kind of see the company built around Jack Briscoe for a while, and we'll move forward into the next in series. But we'll be back soon, right after this.